In the distance, dark clouds gathered over the sea in an angry, roiling boil. The wind slammed hard into the surface, creating rough, hazardous waves that rushed toward shore like angry stallions. There was little beach between the sea and the vast forest that stretched almost to the shoreline. The canopy swayed and rocked, rustling tree branches and sending leaves and needles swirling through the air like weapons of destruction. Darkness brought out the creatures of the night. Bats wheeled and dipped as they feasted on insects. Great round yellow eyes blinked from some of the higher tree limbs as the owls surveyed the forest floor and the voles and mice rushed through rotting vegetation to get home. The merciless wind swept in from the sea, slamming into the stoic trees, bending them, causing creaks of protest, but the trees held, as they had for hundreds of years. The village of Nachtbloom rested on the outskirts of the forest, so close that the wilderness crept forward, as if to recover the site that had been carved from the woods. Night flowers grew wild in every meadow, tipping their faces toward the moon. The village was situated near the river and close to the ocean, where many of the inhabitants made their living fishing or sending their wares to neighboring countries via the sea route. Often fierce storms brewed over the ocean and crashed over their homes, pouring water into the river so that it reacted like a snake. The river would swell up, a thrashing, roaring serpent, spewing the frothing, maddened water from its banks to flood the roads. With the roads impassable, the people were trapped in the village until the abundance of water soaked into the ground, or they managed to fix it. It had happened often enough in the last 2 years that it no longer fazed them. Silke Vriese Reinders knew storms like the ones Nachtbloom experienced were different. Everyone in the village was aware the weather wasn't normal, even though the storms came consistently in the usual months. It rained often in Holland, but in comparison to other countries, the weather was rather mild across the land. Living on the coast, they shouldn't experience such violent storms. With one arm, Silke encircled a tree trunk while she watched the ferocity of the waves pounding the shore. In the distance, water spouts leapt across the choppy surface of the water. But the towering columns were ominous as they spun wildly, forming more and more geysers as they hurtled toward shore.